welcome to Mack-n-Cheeze Music Podcast with your hosts, Brian DeHart.
Hey, this is Brian at Mack-n-Cheeze. Welcome back to another podcast. Today, my good friend Adam Puchalski is going to be back talking with us about what to do with all that extra gear.
What a great guy.
I'm not a hoarder or anything like that, but I am hesitant to give up gear that I might eventually use in the future.
Hey, I saw it on TV once.
There's no way, Bruno, you've never stepped inside of this studio.
Get a life.
Well, this is my life. So, onward and upward. So it's the 30th birthday on that guitar.
Yeah, 30 years for that and the GSP 2101.
Wow, I can't believe that technology, man, that it was done, that it was built that long ago and it sounds the way it does. Oh yeah, there's line level on there. It's all popping there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This thing, just to let you know, with this new Pro Tools, the WAV files don't even show up, or it's just so sensitive that I can just throw a little bit of gain onto the file and it brings it all up. But right now, that is actually
it looks like it's just writing it's just drawing a line and then it'll actually draw the waveform.
Oh, I'll just increase the gain after when I render it.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, but I have been blown away. We did a recording with a Nord synth, and that was pretty interesting because they have preamps built into them, right? Modeling cabinet modeling presets inside of the Nord, and it's acting like a preamp. And so unbeknownst to us, one of the modeling cabinets was on, and I couldn't get anything but an undistorted signal at like minus 20.
Oh.
It was throwing out so much output. And so we did the session, and even when I would render the gain up, I would still get this distortion, and I ended the session completely unhappy with the tracks. It was an acoustic piano.
Yeah.
And then I was like, said to myself, I bet you there's a preamp inside of it, right? And so I went and downloaded the PDF, and sure enough, there's
and it was just driving.
I just
crazy.
turned it off. The next session, turned it off, and I mean you haven't heard the track yet, but it's going to be on the track of yesterday that I'm doing with Darnell.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna put that Nord acoustic piano sound. I mean, it's an analog synth, right, with digital controls. Amazing, man. If you got the extra $2,700, everybody, I highly suggest one.
Yeah. I got an extra $3,000 right here.
I actually do, but I can't justify it. Anyway, this is Brian from Mack-n-Cheeze.
This is Adam from Wind Studio.
All right. So we had talked about we're going to talk about gear today. Was it getting rid of old gear?
Yeah, what do you do with the gear you don't use anymore?
What do you do with the gear that you don't use anymore? Well, a long answer or a short answer?
I don't think there really is any wrong or right answer, or long or short.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a pretty fun podcast because I admit it, I'm a gear slut, and I hold on to stuff probably way too long.
Yeah, I don't think I got rid of anything until probably about 8 years ago. When I started actually getting rid of stuff.
Was that Jerry saying, Adam, it's starting to accumulate. You got to do something about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, probably some of that, and then I would just say, no, I got to keep it. I might need it.
Right.
But then I think when the first time I thought, well, maybe I should get rid of some of this stuff. Because I'll look at something and I'll think, oh God, it makes such great sounds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or it's such a good compressor. Or boy, it's that EQ is just killer.
Right.
But once I went digital, and I used this stuff. I recorded digital just like I used to with analog. It's just like, okay, instead of recording to tape, I'm recording to the computer, but I'm still using all the analog gear and everything. And then it got to the point where I was just using the digital more.
Yeah. Well,
so where's the stuff going to go?
Right. Well, it actually, the stuff goes up in the closet because there's, what do I got there? I got a Lisa's Quadriverb.
Yeah. I sold mine.
Yeah, I have an Lisa's compressor. There's,
sold mine.
I've got an Aphex 204. I mean, that's what, a 15-year-old old technology.
Oh, I had an old oral exciter Aphex Type C.
Right.
From God, I don't know, must have been 89 or 90.
Right.
And I just sold that on eBay like maybe a year ago.
Yeah, and there's a DBX compressor laying around somewhere too.
I'm keeping mine.
Oh, wait a minute.
I've got
there it is.
Yeah.
Look at
I got the MEQ 232.
I got a Mackie. Was it a Mackie EQ?
No, it's a Lisa's.
Is it a Lisa's EQ? Yeah, there's that. So yeah, that's kind of what I do with my old gear. I've always had this dream that I'm going to play in some kind of glam band, right? Again. And so I still have a drum set cage, and the idea was to implement my electronic drums on top of that with the acoustics, right? Yeah, you know what? It's just simpler to just haul the acoustics in, and setup time. I can set up my drums and mic them in 20 minutes, as opposed to taking electronic drums in. You got to run all the cables, Phil.
Yeah. And then troubleshoot. Why am I not getting a signal from the snare pad?
It needed a mixing board and all that. So, yeah, man, I had a Soundcraft Spirit mixer. And man, it was really a nice mixing board, but somewhere over the course of the years, I lost the power source. And and so I took it into Condor Electronics, which I've had nothing but great results with those guys. I've had them service my equipment a lot.
I've had them, actually, they did work on the GSP 2101.
Oh, did they? Yeah.
Years ago.
Yeah.
I had them do a bunch of tune-up stuff on my old Mitchell Pro 100 amp.
Yeah.
Those guys are great.
Yeah. So anyway, they gave me the bad news is that the power sources, for some reason, are proprietary. And to order a part, you probably couldn't even find the part. It's from Soundcraft's made in England.
Yeah.
And so they'd
have to dig through their warehouse to see. I got one of these bloody power sources from. This is from the 90s.
Yeah, well.
Send it to the U.S.
Yeah, it was right.
Some bloke out there wants a power source.
Some bloke out there who's going to pay a lot of money to get that power source. So I took it to Goodwill. That's what I did with that, which is too bad, but maybe someone figured it out.
Yeah, my two mixers are just sitting in a storage unit right now because I don't know what to do with them. Can't really sell them because they're, they've got quirks that I know what the quirks are. I know how to work around them. The Mackie's got a lot of quirks. That's why I set it aside. What my intention was to take it to the factory and have them basically refurbish it, but
back in the day when there was a factory,
when they could, and now it's like, okay, there's nowhere to take it.
Yeah, put it in a box and ship it to China. Maybe they'll fix it.
I mean, I thought I could open it up and do it, but if I should just get a new one.
But
I still have it. It's like,
what Mackie is it?
It's a 1604 VLZ or CRV or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, great mixer. I mean, I went through two of them.
Yeah. They have great sound.
Yeah.
God, what was it? Did we have this conversation earlier, like the last podcast? What was the name of Mackie before it was Mackie?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
I have a phone right somewhere. They're going to ask that question.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because when I was just getting into music and into gear, it was they had an audio recording line, and I forget the name, but it was pretty, not infamous, but pretty famous and a pretty popular brand. I can't remember the name of it. It was just trivial, useless information that we dispense on Tapco.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, man. When I was in high school, I used to go into the music store that was close to my high school and go in there and stare at the Tapco boards, and they had like Korg, just introductory level Korg synthesizers.
Oh yeah,
dude, that was like 1974, 75. Yes, I'm dating myself. Do the math.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's no MIDI, no nothing. It was just
No. Yeah.
you had analog output. You plugged it into any kind of amp you want.
Yeah.
And yeah, I used to love taking old keyboards and just plugging them in through all my guitar stuff, and they just sounded great.
Yeah. My prize piece of equipment that I have that I haven't utilized it, but it's sitting around in storage in one of the rooms of the house, is a Fostex G16 1991.
Oh, wow.
Original Fostex, and it was the one of
1
the
inch tape, or
no, it's half inch,
Oh, okay.
16 track. But evidently Fleetwood Mac cut an album on it, on that one of those Fostex, and it's MIDI compatible. And what it probably needs is about $1,500 worth of work, and I know that there's 3 motors on the thing, so that's all got to be calibrated. I don't think there's any belts on it; it's all motors.
That's cool.
Well, that's the way you want it, right?
Yeah.
And so one of these days, when I have the time and when I can justify the extra dough, I will finally get that thing up and running and start utilizing it, just to get that tape sound.
Yeah, it was a half-inch 8-track Tascam.
Yeah.
And I got rid of it because, luckily, so when I made the transition to digital, and eventually after being 100% digital for about 10 years, I finally said, okay, let's get rid of all the old tape stuff, because I had...
Do you wish you still had it?
I had boxes of tape, kind of.
Yeah.
Just because, and at the time, it's like, okay, I had to have at least a 16-channel mixer to use the thing.
Right.
That was like minimum.
Right.
And that took a lot of space. The tapes took up a lot of space.
Yep.
They weren't cheap. And the age of the machine, after a while, like the rubber, the pulleys and the wheels and stuff, they just started getting kind of gummy, and then you couldn't play tapes on it.
Yeah.
But luckily, everything was digitized before the machine.
All of your
started
mixes
to disintegrate.
You digitized all your mixes before you started.
Most of them just digitized the mixes, which kind of sucks because you can't go back and remix.
Yeah.
Any of that stuff. But there was a few that I dumped them 8-track to 8-track digital.
Yeah.
And I saved them that way so that I could go back and remix them. But I never have, but if I wanted to, I figured they're there.
Yeah.
And I did that with the 4-track tapes. So I had a TAC 4-track.
Yeah.
It was a 1/4 inch.
Reel to reel.
Reel to reel.
Were you using it for mastering? Was that what you were using it for?
But it was a 1/4 track, 1/4 inch. So it was.
Okay.
So you could use it as a 2-way stereo.
Right.
If you wanted to. 2-track stereo and play it in reverse. But I didn't do that. I just went straight 4 straight. And then I had an Akai half-track, just a 1/4 inch half-track, and I use that to mix down to.
Right. Yeah. Now, so did you have DBX noise reduction? Was that on the machines themselves, or did you have a standalone unit for that?
No, I had a standalone unit for that.
Yeah. You didn't keep that either.
No.
Yeah.
And actually, that wasn't mine. When we first started Wind Studio, it was out of my friend's house in Duval.
Okay, yeah.
And when that ended, him and his wife went. So it was like, get the studio stuff out of there. So I basically bought him out on paper, so that we could move all the equipment to my house.
Right.
Basically, just get it out of range of any divorce proceedings.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So,
yeah. I had a friend, speaking of what do you do with the equipment you've had forever, he has this beautiful old school 24 channel console, and I mean, like, the thing is 7 feet long, right?
Yeah.
And the channel strips are like 2 feet long, and he's got
all hand wired.
Oh yeah, the whole thing, man. And he was going through a divorce, and he took and moved that thing and all of his recording equipment to his mom's house.
Yeah, good idea.
Good idea, yeah. So he didn't lose it all, and now he's back up and running with it. And I mean, he's totally old school recording, and he's using Digi O2s, which have been modified by Iron. What's the Iron? No, it's not Iron Mountain. What's their name? Black. Oh well, I can't remember. It's Black something, but. Anyway, he is still using old Digi O2 racks.
Nice.
Yeah, and I would, before I did the upgrade to 12, I was running the Digi O2, and I had a Command 8 control surface, which was really cool because I could have the Command 8 in my left hand, and I could have my mouse in my right hand, right? So I could do channel switching and volume changes with my left, and be clicking on the mouse with my right, and it was just quick and fluid. It was pretty amazing. I don't have that now.
So you could do like, you could do like
editing pretty quick.
Two or three, people on the board for mixing. You could do about 2 or 3 people's worth of work.
Yeah, well that was. And then I discovered, oh, wait a minute, there's automation. Oh, God. Yeah. For the longest time, I wasn't using automation. I was just rendering the DBs manually on the tracks.
Yeah.
But then that creates audio artifacts, and you got to do a lot of crossfading and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, the universe is a huge place, and I had a friend. And I asked him, so are you interested in taking over you can have this Avid stuff, this Digi O2 rack and the Command 8. And he jumped on it, man. Yeah. But he never really utilized it, but he ended up giving it to someone who did.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing that I do with used gear. I didn't want to put it on Craigslist because I don't want anybody who's not my friend over here. I don't want them to see what I got.
Yeah. Plus, whenever I got rid of stuff, I always made sure it went into the hands of somebody that really wanted it.
Oh yeah.
That was going to use it. And that's the only reason I kept it, is because there's nothing wrong with it. It still sounds good. It works good. Whatever kind of equipment it is.
Right.
And if I'm going to get rid of it, most of the time, about half the stuff I got rid of, I sold. I sold a few things on eBay. And people buying stuff on eBay, they want it.
Right.
And if I'm selling it on eBay, it's usually something that you can get on eBay already.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not, but some things like, I had some vibes.
Oh, really?
My dad got some vibes from a lady that he knew. Her husband died. He had these vibes in the basement. She said, well, do you want these? You know? And he said, well, no, but my son might. He's got a studio. Maybe he wants some vibes for the studio. He calls me up. I said, hell yeah. So I brought him over, set him up in the garage. The motor didn't work, but so I made a little pulley belt for it out of leather shoelace. Mm-hmm. Because that's kind of what was on there originally. So I thought, well, let me just get
Hey man, I didn't know you're an engineer.
A fresh leather. So I fixed that, and I took the electric motor apart, cleaned it up, put it back together, and it worked just fine.
Yeah.
And I got all the the little, I don't know what they call those fans.
Rotors.
Yeah, the rotors. Yeah, so those things, I got that all working, and recorded
I think I've heard
a couple
that
of
song.
things with it, and I played a vibe solo for this one song I did.
Yeah.
And then put them away.
Yeah.
You know, and then about 6 years later, I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Somebody could be using this. So I put an ad out for free.
Right.
Free vibes.
Okay.
You know, but I said, there's going to be, you got to prove to me that
you want it.
You want them. You're going to use them. I'm not going to I don't want to give them to somebody who's just going to put them in another garage.
Yeah.
A guy up in Everett calls up. He was working at a tattoo parlor. He was ecstatic, when I told him, because I don't think I said free on the thing. I just said, looking to offload some vibes or something like that. And I told him, I said, yeah, if you're serious about these, I said, yeah, they're yours. He says, oh yeah, I'll fix them up, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so he convinced me, so I said, I'll deliver them to you. So I drove them up to Everett.
Oh wow, that was
for the same reason.
Man, that was really cool of you.
I don't want somebody coming to my house.
I don't want them.
I'd rather drive 30 miles.
You have an arsenal of guitars at your house. You don't want arbitrary people seeing that.
Yeah. And
that's easy pickings, dude.
Drove it up to him, delivered it to him at his tattoo parlor.
Yeah.
He was ecstatic. He loved it.
Yeah, that was really cool.
And then a couple months later, he gave me an update, because he did some more fixing up on them. And I think he sent me a picture and a little recording of and I was like, okay, cool. They're
nice.
In the right hands.
So, kind of a side note, and just maybe for future reference, how did you mic those? What did you do how did you mic those vibes?
You know what? At the time, I had a PV condenser.
Okay.
Just a little, like a...
What, a cigar condenser? Shotgun?
Yeah. It was kind of like about that big.
Uh-huh.
Maybe a little bit smaller.
Yeah.
And then, that's probably what I used at the time. Because I didn't have much, I had SM58s and 57s and...
Which, in a pinch, man.
And I don't know if I even had any of the octave. Oh, no, I probably had some octavas back then. So I might have used a MK219 or something.
I got a 319. It's one of my favorite microphones.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
It works great.
Yeah, for the price, they're they're a bargain.
Before I had kick drum mics, I used that, and it worked awesome. I mean, I was blown away.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've never gotten rid of was microphones.
Yeah.
I've got every mic I've ever owned, I still have.
Well, I've never gotten rid of any microphones. I've broken a couple. Never gotten rid of it.
I've
still
broken them or accidentally destroyed them trying to fix them.
Right.
But I've never bought one, used it, and then sold it.
Yeah, I think the one that I've got in the closet is an old Pacific Pro Audio U47 copy.
Oh yeah.
Not an 87, but a U47 copy. And I just was thinking about taking it into Condor and seeing if they could fix it, because it's a good microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They can fix it. That would be worth it.
Yeah,
sure.
it would. Yeah. But it fell out of its case onto the floor, and it. Yeah, that was the end of that mic.
Yeah. That's what happened. I got a Carvin tube mic.
Yeah. You had a lot of good luck with that, right?
That thing fell to the ground one time, and it stopped working.
Yeah.
I took it apart, fixed it.
So just to let everybody know, great. Adam is more of an engineer than I am, because real engineers take their gear apart and make them better. Yeah. And I just take them to the shop and let somebody before I'll mess it up. I'll destroy it. So. Yeah.
Well, I've destroyed gear doing that too, but.
And when it comes to soldering, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm about a 0.5.
Yeah, I'm probably when it comes to soldering if we're doing stuff like fixing a patch bay or something like that, I'm a 10, no problem.
Oh yeah, see that patch bay right there? Yeah. I have no use for that patch bay, but there it is on the rack.
Oh yeah.
No use. I mean, everything's pretty much in the box, and so it's. I got rid of the patch bay, the old patch bays. I got rid of my snake. Yeah. Because I didn't need my snake anymore. Right.
But it took a lot of years of not using it before I got rid of anything.
Right, yeah.
Because I always think, I'm going to need that one of these days.
Well, and my philosophy is that it's less expensive to keep it than to sell it and then try to replace it later on.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things, that's true with.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of stuff that's like, you know, why are you hanging on to this?
Yeah.
You know, if you need it again, buy another one,
right.
and it'll be brand new, probably better. But some of that classic stuff, you just like. I have there's a guitar pedal that I'm missing.
Don't know where it is.
I don't know where it is. It's a DeArmond Twister phase shifter.
Did you have it when we were rehearsing back a few years ago? Okay.
No.
Yeah.
It was one of the first pedals I bought.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
You know, but back in probably 1980 or 81.
It's a collector's
when
item.
I bought it. And then, it probably is. I never really looked it up on eBay or the internet or anything to see if anybody has them to sell. But I don't know what the heck happened. So did I loan it to somebody and forget?
Yeah.
But I looked through everything in the house. So that's... Some old equipment just vanishes.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
I mean, you just store it for so long, you haven't looked for it for years, it pops into your head, you go, oh, wait a minute, and then you can't find it anywhere.
Yeah, it's not a garage, it's a labyrinth.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Just need a big, long roll of string to find your way through the garage.
Yeah.
Clamber back out.
Got a basket of chords right here.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Half of those chords will probably never, ever get used again.
You know what? You're right about that. But I still hold on to them because they may. Yeah.
I do too. Because that one, you know, somebody's going to come into the studio and they've got some weird electric harmonica preamp thing that needs this funky chord with an adapter on it. And it's like, well, I just happen to have one of those.
I actually do. It's over in those drawers over there, the old power source adapters. Yeah, man. I mean, you know, now that you brought that up, you know, the reason that most of those 1/4 inches are in there, because I used to do a lot of recording of line outs off of boards. But now all you need is a USB and a laptop. You get line out. Perfect. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, it's much less cumbersome than it used to be. That's for sure.
Yeah. And then that's when the sound quality or the sound difference argument comes up. But I mean, I love the analog sound, but not enough to go through the trouble to stick to it.
Right.
That religiously.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it just takes so much time.
Right.
Compared to digital. You know? Digital, you can go boom, 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 and it's just like, and it sounds good, and it's. No one's playing records or anything anymore. Most people don't even play music over stereos in their living room.
That's right.
It's like in their car, it's on their phone, it's on their computer speakers. Nobody's listening to music through big speakers anymore, so...
Except if you're
the old equipment that used to make it sound great through a home stereo.
Yeah, a lot of audiophiles are still doing that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, there's people that still do.
Yeah.
I mean...
So, kind of back to our original subject matter. So, I don't think you had ever played a gig with me when I was using the TD-10, the Rolands, right? Mm-hmm. So I had those for years, and being naive as I was when I got invested into it, so I invested in those guys in the late 90s. And we're talking about the Roland TD-10 digital drum kit. And I kept those things around for years. What a pain in the butt to, like I said earlier in the podcast, what a pain in the butt to get set up. But, you know, I had, what was there? There was 8 outs on the back of that thing. So I could control pretty much every drum or every pad except a couple submixes, right? Simple submixed. But at some point, I just was like, I got tired of trying to fix them because in the studio, the snare drums just don't sound like a snare drum. The hi-hats don't sound like a hi-hat. You can get away. The kick drum's okay. The toms are great. Cymbals are okay. You know, you get away with it. But those things just ended up sitting around here for years and years and years. And at work, this guy bought himself an Elise's drum brain, right? For the kit.
Oh, yeah.
And he had the basic introductory Elise's pads, and I just said, you know, man, I can't. I tried to take those TD10s to Goodwill. They wouldn't take it without the brain, because I kept the brain because I want the samples.
Yeah.
The samples are good. They're good.
Yeah, the brains were fine.
Yeah, the brain's great. So I kept the brain, and then I, you know, because I believe in a big universe, just like I said earlier, I gave him the pads, man. And that was, you know, I gave him about, would have been a couple of $1,000s worth of pads, and he was ecstatic. You know, the way that those mesh pads were set up is that you can actually do drum rolls and stuff, buzz rolls and stuff with the sticks, and it actually, the Roland worked with the Elise's, and so he was like, he was in cloud 9, man. I gave him the kick drum pad, and he was just ecstatic, and he was happy to this day. He's still using them, and I'm glad they found a good home.
Yeah, at least they're still being used.
They're still being used, yeah.
I know my drums. Actually, I sold my Roland electric kit.
You had a TD7, right?
Whatever it was at the time, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Because when I sold that, that's when I went and bought the GSP and the Gem.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
And I used that money to buy that because it was just sitting there. It's like, what? This electronic drum kit's sitting here, not doing much.
Right.
99% of the time.
Sometimes you get played with.
I want to turn it into cash and get something that I'm going to use all the time.
Right. Exactly.
And here I am. I'm still using it 30 years later.
Oh, you still have it?
No.
Oh no.
The stuff that I was playing through today.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So you remember that hard drive recorder, that Roland thing that I had?
Oh
right?
yeah.
Again, another person. I'm actually, that thing was great, man. The digital to analog conversion on it. If people are into vintage gear, old hard drive recorders, regardless of what brand out of the 90s, they had a technology competition to see who could have the best digital to analog conversion, man. Those things convert so warm and so rich. The new stuff, it's not nearly as good as it was back in the 90s. So
there's a, I don't even know how to describe it. There's something missing.
Right, there's something missing.
Something missing in the output.
They tried harder back then. That's for sure. They tried harder. But you know, I ended up giving that thing away too, and so here's the long story short, is that the friend that I gave it to knew of another friend who had old recordings that he had recorded on that, and he still had the discs, because back then you would save all of your songs to disc, right? Yeah. And he had a whole bunch of music that he recorded on one of those Roland hard drive recorders, but he didn't have any way to bring the discs back, and so he ended up with that machine, and I'm glad he put it to good use.
Yeah. Can you imagine trying to find something like that?
They're around.
When he came across yours, he was probably just like, oh man, this is like...
Yeah, and it's free.
Yeah.
It's like, and when I give stuff to people, it's like, just return the favor, man. Just do it for somebody else. Help somebody else out.
Yeah. And that's only my main thing. Is like, it's been sitting here in the closet. If I'm going to get rid of it,
make sure that,
because somebody wants it, and they're going to use it.
It's going to go to a good home.
So that's what I try to imagine. That's where that pedal is. It's on somebody's pedal board, and somebody said, "Hey, can I try this for a few days?"
I love Adam. God rest his soul, wherever he is now.
Yeah, wherever that thing is. Who knows?
Yeah. So what else have I had through the years? Because I have really never ever tried to resell equipment. I never have.
No, but when I did, I think most of the equipment I got rid of was because I was totally digital.
Right.
And I just didn't need it anymore. I got rid of, some great sounding stuff. I had a Korg synth module. I think it was an 03RW.
Okay.
And I had all kinds of cards, it had sound cards and program cards.
The old PCM cards, right? Yeah.
It had PCM and then just a data card that stored all the songs, so it had 2 card slots. And the sounds on that thing were great. I used that for years. Yeah. And I used it even when I was all digital. I still had it plugged into my system, and I got rid of it about the same time when I went to mixerless. That's when it's like, okay, that's the end of this. But it sat there. It was in my rack. It was plugged in, ready to go all the time. And it would go 2 years between uses.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
You know? And it's like, so now that I don't have it, I keep thinking, okay, one of these days I'm going to run into something and go, oh, I know, I've got the perfect sound for that, and I don't have it anymore.
Right. Well, I have a Roland XP80 that I don't know, man. I must have bought that 25 years ago, maybe even longer, and there's no way I'm giving it up.
Yeah, well, you can't get those sounds.
No, you can't. Those are a lot of digital reproduction of old Roland analog sounds.
Yeah.
And you can't get those sounds. It's right, and there are, and it's got the extra sound cards in it, so I have some great bass sounds on it.
Yeah.
I'm never going to get rid of that thing. But however, you know that it's so old school that it ran off of floppy disks, right? Or not the old school IBM 256 floppies, but actual insertable floppy disks with in a thin case.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what.
And those are laying around somewhere, and you know they're all magnetized, so eventually they lose their magnetism and they fail. So I know that they're around here somewhere.
Now what I did, I had
look into the closet, Bri.
I had an old. It was a Brother. I think it was like a PC 100 sequencer.
Oh yeah.
And it ran on
those
on
guys. That's what it is.
So what I did just recently, that was one of the last things that I sold. But I took it into the studio.
I still have the discs.
And I put every disc in, and I played back every song into the computer.
Yeah.
Just basically recorded it, you know, in real time as a MIDI file. Just so that I could save everything on those discs.
Yeah.
And then I verified. I made sure, okay, all those MIDI files are saved. They're all good. Program changes, everything's there. Most of them fed into like a DX7 or the 03RW.
Oh yeah.
Or something else. So I'd have to change the sounds, but at least I preserved the music that I used to create with those old analog sounds.
Right.
I still got the MIDI that played it all.
Yeah.
But I got rid of the sequencer.
Oh yeah.
But and it sold. I thought, well, there's no way
this is
going to sell.
Someone bought it.
Yeah, and I put the disc. I don't know if you can get floppy disks anymore, so I put the discs with it.
Of course.
You know, all the blank ones. I blanked a bunch of them out and formatted them and just made sure that they had discs that would work with it. Guy bought it. He was ecstatic. He loved it.
Yeah.
I think he was actually looking for that one.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. Awesome.
And that's what you do with your old equipment. Find somebody who needs it.
There you go.
And who's going to use it.
See, it took us 35 minutes to get to the point that we should have been at when we...
Yeah.
So you've had to endure...
So if you're not using it, find somebody who's going to use it, because it's a shame.
Before you start this podcast, be sure to fast forward.
Yeah. Yeah, go back. Play the last 5 minutes first.
Yeah, that's it. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to us today. This is Brian at Mack-n-Cheeze.
Adam at Wind Studio.
Yeah.
And don't hoard your equipment. Get it out there in the hands of somebody that's going to use it.
There you go. That's right. I'm with you. All right. Bye.
Later.
That was a lot of fun. Thank you, Adam, for showing up one more time. Hey, if you're enjoying what you're hearing, you can follow us on Facebook at Mack-n-Cheeze Music. Or if you like to read, you can follow us at mackncheezemusic.blog. All right, man. Thanks a lot for listening. Take it away, Bruno.
This is the end.
Hey everyone, if you enjoyed this video and you got something out of it, please subscribe to Brian at Mack-n-Cheeze on YouTube. Just press that subscribe button and you'll never miss another episode. Hey, and you got that going for you, right? All right. Cheers. Have a great day.